Hey everyone, before we get into episode number 13 with Joey Daccord, which by the way was fantastic. It's a great interview and just enjoy it. It's a hell of an interview. But before we get into it, I just wanted to wish all the fathers out there a happy Father's Day. Sundays for you, and we just wanted to mention to all the great fathers out there. Now enjoy episode number 13 with Sens prospect Joey Daccord.
Best of seven.
Of this best of seven series
Of a best of seven series.
Welcome to the Best of Seven podcast.
Welcome to the Best of Seven podcast. I'm your host, Brandon Plant from Sens Talk, in episode number 13, the first episode without co-host Noah Luden. We are joined here by Senators prospect, goaltending prospect, Joey Daccord. Joey, how are you doing today?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Hey, it's a pleasure to have you. In a week full of sports news, let's get to the first one, some hockey news. Buffalo Sabres, the general manager, the VP, they flip spots. Kevin Adams, the VP of Business Operations, takes the general manager position. Jason Botterill is out, along with many scouting crew, trainers, etc. They basically cleared house there in Buffalo. Kevin Adams is a former National Hockey League player, 136 points in 540 games. He's a former assistant coach for the Sabres as well. But once again, Buffalo is all over the place. They've basically cleared house a few months before the draft, and it's interesting to see what they do next in Buffalo, because that rebuild has been going on for 8 years. Now, Joey, I wanted to ask you about this one. The MLB and MLBPA have been going back and forth on negotiations to start up the season. So, Joey, right now it's not looking good. The MLB and MLBPA are keep on going back and forth. I have stuff right here. MLB Commissioner Rob Manfred and Union Chief Tony Clark met. And the MLB and MLBPA are right now, as we speak, on Wednesday at 3:10, are in negotiations, but it's not looking great. Joey, what are you thinking about a potential Major League Baseball season?
Well, I think it's important, it goes alongside the NHL to have all the professional leagues playing. I think it's important for sports to be back in general. So hopefully they can work something out. I got a really good buddy who's a pro baseball player, so he's hoping they get something figured out. And, I think I'm happy that the NHL was able to work out a deal between the PA and the league to get play started back up. And I'm hoping the same for those guys as well, because there's a lot of athletes that want to be playing.
Who's, if you don't mind asking, who's your professional friend? What team does he play on?
His name's Russell Olive. He got drafted by the Rays a few years ago, and he's kind of spent last year in the minor leagues, so he's not quite sure what he's doing this season because there's so much uncertainty.
It's terrible, the uncertainty around the prospects in the major leagues. So many of them are getting cut. So many of them are losing a lot of money. So hopefully that's switched and fixed very soon. Now today, breaking news today as well, Colin Kaepernick potentially on the Los Angeles Chargers. Head coach Anthony Lynn says that he's going to be on the workout list. We'll see what happens with him. It will be interesting to see Colin Kaepernick if he gets an opportunity again in the National Football League. Moving on with the NFL, my 49ers rewarded Coach Kyle Shanahan with a 6-year contract extension that puts him through the 49ers through the 2025 season. Now, Joey, you're an Arizona State alumni. I'm wondering, are you a Cardinals fan? Who do you cheer for in the NFL?
I'm a huge Patriots fan, so tough off season with Tommy leaving us, but I'll get over it eventually. He won us enough Super Bowls, so I can't complain too much.
And Stidham, I'm telling you, that guy has great potential. I like that kid. I'm telling you, Stidham.
We'll see. It's hard to fill the shoes of Tom Brady.
Oh, yeah.
I'll just leave it at that. He can be as good as he wants. It's never going to be the same.
For sure. But I assume y'all are going to tank for Trevor Lawrence, eh?
I don't know. Bill Belichick's always got something up his sleeve, so I bet you we're better than people think we are.
You're in an easy-ish division. It's sort of full of question marks. Everyone's saying Buffalo's going to take over, maybe Miami. It's going to be interesting to watch that division for sure moving forward. But continuing with the NFL, Ezekiel Elliott, among other players on the Cowboys and Texans, tested positive for COVID-19. They seem to be in good health, and we wish nothing but a speedy recovery. Now, Joey, I want to talk to you about this because you mentioned before we got into the episode that your friend, this is your friend, well, not your friend, but you've met this guy because you both come from the same alma mater. Detroit selects first and third baseman Spencer Torkelson, first overall in the 2020 draft. In his NCAA career at Arizona State, he batted .337, hit 14 home runs, 76 RBIs, also stole 40 bases, 140 games. That's a great stat line. Joey, as an alumni of Arizona State, how does this feel for you?
Oh, it was really cool. Anytime someone from ASU has success in the professional ranks in any sport, it's awesome. Last summer, N'Keal Harry was a wide receiver from the Patriots, or from ASU, and he got drafted by the Patriots in the first round. So that was really cool. We've had a lot of successful athletes come out of ASU. So to see him get drafted first overall was really cool, especially because when I was at ASU, I went to baseball games and saw him play, and he's a special player. So obviously super excited for him and the school, and it's just great to have that, success story around Arizona State, and it's a really cool story.
Now, I wanted to add on to that question. We see a lot in many movies, in fact, and, just in general, a lot of people make the joke about how different athletic programs in their respective colleges have sort of beef or rivalries with each other. It's sort of an ongoing joke, but I'm wondering, what's it like at Arizona State? Are all the programs, do people know each other? Do you guys interact? Do you guys separate? How does that work?
Yeah, all the teams are pretty close. I would say that there's a lot of athletes at ASU, so for some reason or another, different teams become closer than others. For whatever reason, whether it's schedules or if you work out in the gym at the same time as another team, you become friends with people. And then we just have a lot of community type stuff through our athletic program, and Sun Devil Athletics does an incredible job with the program and setting it all up, and with the resources they have for all of us. So we spend a lot of time together, even just with our different teams. So it sets up really well to make a lot of friends on other teams.
Well, that sounds great, and it's good to finally clear the air on that question, because I'm obviously not an NCAA athlete, and many of my friends aren't either. So it's nice to get a little bit of an inside view of what that is like. Now, going on with the Blue Jays, we're here in Ottawa. We're Canadians. So we got to talk about the Blue Jays. They got a steal at 5th overall. Shortstop Austin Martin. He was projected to go in the top 3, fell to 5th overall. In his NCAA career, he batted .368 with 14 home runs and 76 RBIs as well, and stole 40 bases, 140 games. So he had a really good stat line. And pardon me, I got it mixed up with Spencer Torkelson. His stat line was actually .337 with 54 home runs and 130 RBIs and 129 games. Much more impressive, many more home runs for an Arizona State alumni. Now, Joey, I want you to touch up on this as well. Vegas is likely going to become a National Hockey League hub city for the Stanley Cup playoffs when play resumes. It's expected to be announced on June 22nd. Now, we're waiting on an Eastern city because the Canadian government has to make accommodations with the NHL due to the Canadian border being closed. So, Joey, what do you think about a Vegas potential hub city?
Well, I just think in general, it's a great thing that hockey's coming back, and I think they're doing it in a really smart way. So, unfortunately, Ottawa's not going to be playing, and Belleville's not going to be playing, but some hockey's better than no hockey. So I'm excited to watch, and I think any city really would do a great job hosting, but I'm sure the guys will have no problem going to sunny Las Vegas and spending a couple of weeks there, or months potentially if the teams that stay a little longer. So I'm just excited to watch hockey again.
It sounds pretty ideal. If there's any place to go and be stuck in for a couple of months, let it be Vegas. There's plenty of opportunity to be entertained there. So that is, if there had to be one option to go to, that's the great one. Now, moving on to some Senators, former Sens former Senator Tommy Wingels has retired. He played 8 NHL seasons across 4 teams and had 143 career points and 448 career games. He most notably played in 2017 with the Ottawa Senators during their run to the conference finals, where we all know it ended in double overtime, Game 7 versus Chris Kunitz getting the knuckle puck overtime winner. But congratulations to Tommy Wingels on a phenomenal career. Now, Joey, I want to talk to you a little bit about your career. You've had such a interesting career. You've got to play in many different levels, including the NHL, NCAA, ECHL, AHL, you name it. So let's talk about your NHL debut first. How nervous were you when you heard you were going to make your National Hockey League debut on the road?
Well, I was pushing for it. I wanted it. my agent asked me, he says, "Hey, is it something that you want?" And I said that it was something that I absolutely wanted. And if the opportunity came, that it's something that I would be, really excited to do.
Yeah.
Almost didn't know if it was going to happen or not. And then when you finally find out that it's going to happen, it's a unique feeling, to hear that news. So I was definitely nervous, and I was surprisingly calm most of the week. But then the day of the game, I was, understandably nervous and excited, and just really excited for the game.
Well, it started off really well. You made a phenomenal glove save off of Sam Reinhart in your first period, your first big National Hockey League stop. How does it feel to get that first stop out of the way, to sort of get into the rhythm of playing hockey at the next level? It must be a weird or interesting feeling.
Yeah, so I mean, it was tough because they had like 4 or 5 shot attempts like right away at the start of the game, and nothing got to the net. Either missed the net or got blocked or something happened. So I just wanted to get a puck touch and make a save. And then next thing you know, Jack Eichel's making a no-look behind the back pass through the neutral zone, and Sam Reinhart's coming in on a little quasi breakaway, and then I was just able to make a pad save, and then he put it right in my glove on the second one. So that one felt nice. It felt good to just get my feet wet and make a save and get into the swing of things.
Well, we all know what the final score ended up as, but it wasn't a true reflection of how you played. You stopped 40 shots. You faced an NHL team in your NHL debut against a player like Jack Eichel and a generational defenseman in Rasmus Dahlin. How incredible of an experience was all that? You stopped 40 shots. You actually played very well, and you got to play against some of the best players in the world.
That was unbelievable. I just remember having so much fun. I remember every TV timeout, I just looked around and tried to take it all in, and looked up at my family, and just really tried to enjoy the moment. And it was obviously really cool to play against all those players and with a lot of great players on our team. So it was just a special moment, a special night for myself and my family. And I actually had the head coach, and I had the senior administrator, athletic administrator, and my goalie coach from ASU were there, and a bunch of family and my close friends. So it was a really special night, and the score sheet with the starting lineup on there was pretty good too. It was Eichel and Pominville and a lot of good players. So I'll remember that one forever.
How many family and friends did you have at the arena at the time? I know usually for NHL debuts, you usually get a good crowd for your first game. Did you invite many friends, or was it just close family and friends that you wanted there?
I had, I think I had like 18 people. I had, like I said, I had those 3 people from ASU, and then I had my dad, mom, my younger brother, and then I had my grandparents and my 2 best friends from home. Mm-hmm. And then I had my dad's sister's family is from Toronto, so they came down to Buffalo. And then I had another couple of family friends. So it was I think it was 18 or 19 people, yeah.
A good crowd there, especially for your first game. And I'm sure after the game was over, it felt like a relief. You got the monkey off your back. You stopped 40 shots, and you did it in front of your family. So that must have been an incredible experience. And another incredible experience for sure was getting drafted by the Ottawa Senators in the 7th round in 2015. You had a very good NCAA career with Arizona State. And this past season, had another great season in Belleville. What would you say are the main differences between the NCAA and the American Hockey League?
Well, I just think the high-end skill is just so elite. You see it as the levels go up more and more, but you play with these guys that can just do whatever they want with the puck, and they make these very high skill and high-level plays. So just for me, it's just about being more patient and trusting my reads more and trusting myself more as I get more and more comfortable. And, I just think it's really fun. Honestly, you play in some really cool buildings, and you're living the dream. You're playing pro hockey, and that's what you've always wanted to do. So it was really cool for me this year to play, and I think it also helped having the experience of playing in the NHL the year prior, just to know that I could play at that level and just try to do whatever I can to try to get back there.
Now, I was wondering, in the AHL, you got to go to Cleveland, where LeBron James played in the huge arena there. I was wondering, I know their crowds are generally large there. Did you get the opportunity to play in Cleveland? And how was it to play in basically a National Hockey League arena? Because it's a huge arena for the Cleveland Cavaliers. How was that experience like, if you did get to play?
They had a huge crowd. Yeah, it was. They They had a really big crowd. And I remember when we were walking in for morning skate, the Indiana Pacers were walking in for their morning shoot around because there's like a side gym in there. So that was pretty cool because those guys are massive. I could not believe how tall those guys were. So that was cool seeing them there, and just it was funny. First thing I thought of when I'd never really put two and two together. That's where the Cavs played until we were there and out on the ice, and then I was like, wait, LeBron played out here. It was pretty cool. So yeah, glad to play well there. I think we won that night 5-1, and that was actually my last game of the year.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It's a shame, but at least you went out with a bang and got to see some Pacer players, got to play in the same buildings LeBron James. That's a story you can tell for quite a long time. That's pretty cool. Now, many have also said that you're one of the huge reasons, including myself, I agree, you're one of the huge reasons for putting Arizona State on the map for hockey. What was the experience at Arizona State like during your career there in NCAA?
I loved it. I had an awesome time, an awesome experience. Coach Powers and Ray Anderson, Coach Powers is the head coach. Ray Anderson is he's the athletic director. They've done an incredible job starting that program and just getting it all set up. And I love my experience there. My first year was a big adjustment, but then my second 2 years, I really was able to take a big step and really kind of find my way. I think it's a big lifestyle adjustment first and foremost, going out to college and being so far away from home. And it just took a lot of time for me to get used to it. But once I settled in my second and third year, I felt really comfortable and just was able to keep playing well and just kind of keep getting better and better and practicing hard and working with my goalie coach there, Andrew Matheson, and we got along really well and just kept trying to work and get better. And our third year, we had such a magical season. It was so much fun, and we had an awesome group, and we did some special things.
Yeah, it was great to see a young team like Arizona State go to the tournament. That was fantastic. But I was wondering, are you from the Massachusetts area? Because you are a Patriots fan, so I'm wondering, I assume you're from there, right?
Yeah, I'm from just north of Boston.
Okay, so I assume the winters in Arizona and Massachusetts are a little different. What was that like to experience a winter without snow? Yeah,
it's a little bit different. I loved it. I try not to take it for granted, but no matter what, you're going to feel like you took it for granted after you leave. But I think I did a pretty good job, enjoying it while I had it. It's funny, my best friend from home actually just moved out to a different city in Arizona, but still Arizona. And he already was texting me about the heat. And, it's a special place out there. I really enjoyed my time in Arizona. The winter is incredible just because it's so nice. And, you can wear shorts and like a light hoodie or a long sleeve and you're good. So yeah, it's really nice.
I was wondering, out there, did you ever go anywhere famous in Arizona, like the Grand Canyon? Did you ever tour or visit anything?
I never made it up to the Grand Canyon because it was about 4.5 hours away from me, but I did go to Sedona, which is another pretty famous place. Okay. When my family came and visited, I went up there with my parents, and it's a very similar type of experience to the Grand Canyon. Oh, okay. It was really cool there too.
Oh, that sounds great. And speaking of great things, we've spoken a lot about this on the podcast in the aspect of the Senators have a great plethora of goalie prospects. You got yourself, Marcus Hogberg, Jonas Gustafsson, Matt Sogard, Kevin Mandolese, among others. So I'm wondering, all y'all want the starting role or to have that number one spot in the Senators in the future. So I'm wondering, how does it affect how you play, knowing that there's so much competition for one spot in Ottawa?
I don't think – at the end of the day, we all want to make it to the NHL, but we're all such good friends, and we've generated a pretty good relationship, especially in the last few years. Myself with the young guys, Mando and Mads, we were pretty good buddies, and we love to hang out. And we were already texting. We can't wait for training camp next year because we just like hanging out. So I'm glad Mando signed, and I'll be able to hang out with him a little bit more. And hopefully Mads will sign the following year or whenever that happens. Because we're all pretty good friends. So we all just want the best for each other. And once I signed this year and got to play with Hoggy and Gus a little bit too, awesome guys. And we're all pretty good friends. So we all just want the best for each other. And we know that if we all play well, we'll all get to where we want to go eventually.
Well, we'll touch up on your contract later. I have that question, and we'll certainly touch up on that because a lot of Sens fans, including myself, would like to see you return. But we will first talk about your number. Your number is 35, and during your time at NCAA, AHL, and ECHL, you wore that number. But in your NHL debut, you wore number 34. Do you have any reasoning behind the numbers you wear in hockey, or is it just whatever number I'm given?
Well, growing up, I always wore number 1 because of Andrew Raycroft. He was my favorite goalie growing up because he was coming up in the Bruins system when my dad was the goalie coach for the Bruins.
Oh, I didn't know. That's really cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah, so my dad was a goalie coach for the Bruins for 2 years, and Razor was just coming up. So I wore number 1 because of him, and then I also wore number 1 because of Corey Schneider, who played at Boston College. So then when I went to North Andover High School, my public high school, my freshman year and sophomore year, and the senior wore number 1, so I just pick a new number. And that was the same year that Corey Schneider moved up to Vancouver Canucks, and he switched to 35.
Oh.
So I took 35 that year too, and I've been 35 ever since. Except for, so I was 35 at North Andover, at Cushing Academy, and then for 1 year in the USHL, they didn't have 35 wasn't an option, so I wore 29 because of Marc-Andre Fleury, and then at ASU I wore 35 again. So I'm 35, but last year in Ottawa, that was just my number they gave me, and I wasn't going to ask to switch, so that's why I wore 34.
That's cool though. That there's always some players who say this is whatever number I'm given, but I love when a player tells the fans a little bit of a story of a background for the number that they choose. I would never have guessed about Andrew Raycroft. I would never have known, and the Corey Schneider aspect is also pretty cool.
And one of the things just to add is that was really cool about 34 was the goalie my dad had when he was with the Bruins was Byron Dafoe before Andrew Raycroft, and he wore 34, and I loved him too. And then my dad played professionally in Switzerland. He played goal there, and he wore 34. So that was a pretty cool little caveat too. I didn't pick it, but it just kind of worked out that way.
Funny how little things like that work out, you know?
Yeah.
Now, I'm wondering, you've had a for such a young person and such a young career, you've had a very storied career. You've been many places, and you've dominated basically in every single stop you've been at. Now, I'm wondering, is there one save or moment so far in your hockey career that is the most memorable to you?
I would probably say making the NCAA tournament with ASU was just so special because my first and second year there, we struggled, and I don't think we ever made it past 48th in the country out of 60 teams.
Yeah.
So it was something that was really special my junior year to make the NCAA tournament, and when we were a 3 seed, so that puts us in the top 12 of teams in the country, which is pretty incredible. And we just had the magic that year. We had some big wins, and just big moment after big moment, and you know, comebacks and battling adversity, and it was so much fun, and I'll never forget that season. And making the NCAA tournament was definitely up there. When I was growing up, like I said, I was a big fan of Corey Schneider, and Corey Schneider went to Boston College, so I wanted to go to Boston College. So that season, my junior year, we played Boston College twice, and we won both games. And the second game, I got a shutout, so that was pretty special. And then obviously playing in the NHL, my first NHL game is definitely up there as well.
I think those are great answers, and you know, once again, it's just it was a magical run that Arizona State went on, and it really helped you. That run put you in the spotlight for a lot of Sens fans when it comes to goalie prospects. So that really has helped. Not above your great play, that run alone has really put you on the spotlight to be one of the top goalie prospects in the organization. Now, another question now, after telling us that your dad is a former professional goalie and professional goalie coach, I think this answer is probably going to be obvious, but how did you begin to play goaltending? Was it your dad that brought you into it? Was it sort of just you saw your dad doing it, you wanted to do it as well? How did that really come to fruition?
My dad, yeah, he was the biggest one that influenced me. Him and my mom took me to the hockey rink when I was 2 days old for the first time, because as soon as my dad finished playing, he started working in hockey right away. So that's just something that's been ingrained. Like, I don't even remember deciding to play hockey, or even when I decided to be a goalie, that's all I remember ever doing. So that's kind of just the way it's been my whole life. My dad has a goalie coaching company here in New England, and it's just kind of been a part of my life ever since I can remember. And it's always what I wanted to do is play hockey and be a goalie.
Well, goalies are known amongst the hockey community as sort of the weird position. There are many different weird and unique training tactics that goaltenders use to keep their hand-eye coordination at a National Hockey League goalie level, such as juggling. So how do you, Joey Daccord, keep your hand-eye coordination at its best?
I do vision training in the off season. My dad actually has it's called The Pad in Boston, and it's a mini hockey rink where I skate sometimes. And then there's there's a gym, there's a vision training center, and then there's a yoga studio. So I kind of do all that stuff. I do vision training, and then I just recently started doing VR training, virtual reality stuff. So that's been pretty cool as well. It's complicated, but basically you just have a headset on, and it's virtual reality, and you can do all different kinds of cognitive training and goalie training, and it's pretty incredible.
Now, I'm wondering, considering your dad is a goalie coach, former professional goaltender, I'm wondering, with so much uncertainty around the AHL coming back, around the NHL coming back, around hockey returning and training camps, etc., the Senators are in a situation where they're looking at the draft lottery, so they're not going to be playing hockey until December. Now, the AHL, we don't know when you all are going to return. However, I'm wondering, how are you keeping in shape during all this? Are you working out with your dad? Is he putting you through drills? What's going on top of the visual training and stuff?
So in the summer, I train off the ice, probably the hardest, but I have not gotten back on the ice yet. I'm just trying to take a break for right now and just let the body rest up. Because after the season ended, I trained pretty hard just in case after it got paused, just in case it came back. So I only just started taking a little bit of a break in the last few weeks here. And yeah, I'll probably hop back on the ice soon and start getting ready for the season. And I skate with a lot of other college and pro goalies, and I train with other college and pro goalies. So I'll be busy all summer training hard and getting ready for the season.
Well, that's great, because there are a few players that are certainly going to come up from Belleville to Ottawa on the main roster next year. And that could be you, that could be many others. But regardless, if you're in the NHL or AHL, both teams should have a great potential, because we have so many young prospects on the team. So I am looking forward, and should be a great training camp to see where you're going to end up. I look forward to seeing where you're going to end up, whether it's in the AHL or the National Hockey League. But speaking of the AHL, NCAA, and everything, you have some of the most beautiful goaltending pads. I'm a huge goaltending pad guy, So, I love the designs. Like you got the Jimmy Howard pads in 2013 with the flames. I don't know if you remember that. But I know your golden pads you had. I was checking while working on the script with Noah. So I saw that you had golden pads for your alternate jersey. I saw, of course, you have the slick design in NCAA and now in the AHL. So I'm wondering what goes into that design process. Is it you? Is it a designer? What goes into it? And as well, on top of the pads, what goes into the design of your helmet as well, if you want to throw that in?
Well, so for my gear for deciding pads and stuff, I usually do that all myself, but I have a couple buddies that I always bounce off ideas for, and I've had to do a couple different designs now for this most recent type of pad. And I've come up with some pretty cool stuff, I thought, and I really like my junior year pads from ASU, so I just did the same thing, just in Ottawa colors for this past season. But I actually just for the last few weeks, I broke out a new set with a new design. So
are they not revealed yet?
No, I wore them for a couple games. I wore them like the last 4 or 5 games, I think.
What are they looking like?
They're just a little bit more red, a little bit less black, but I really like them. Just something fresh, something new. Probably have a newish design next year. Not sure yet what we're gonna do. And then my mask I get my mask painted by my guy Shifty. He's out in California, and he usually has ideas in his head, and then I kind of tell him, hey, like I want this on it, and then he takes it and puts his own spin on it and does an awesome job. So he kind of has most of the creative power on what my mask looks like.
Is there anything unique on your mask that is personal to you or anything like that?
Yeah, well, on the back plate, I have I'm a citizen in the United States, Canada, and Switzerland. So I have the three flags on my mask. And then I have usually somewhere on my mask, I have a hidden Sparky. So Sparky the Sun Devil, he's the ASU mascot. So you'll find him all over my mask, just hiding.
Pay tribute, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
I respect that. Now I'm wondering, goaltending, the goaltending position in hockey, not only is it one of the most unique positions in sports, it's also one of the ones that has the most superstition. So I'm wondering, Joey, do you keep the same routine every day, or is it not something you tend to worry about?
I have a routine, yeah, but it's not a superstition. I like to.
So what does a game day look like for you when you're starting? What's the routine?
Well, so I get up and then I go to the rink, have breakfast. I usually get a little bit of treatment, and then I get warmed up. I'm on the ice 15 minutes early with Corey Cooper for a warm up, and then it's morning skate off the ice. I like to do a little bit of cool down, do an ice bath, and then head home, grab some lunch, grab a pregame meal or cook, depending on if we're home or away. And so I'll cook pregame meal, eat. Usually watch an episode or two of The Office, and then take a nap. Get up around 3. I'm leaving my place around 4. Get to the rink and kind of go through my pregame routine, and next thing you know, it's game time.
Now, we're not going to move past the fact that you watch The Office without asking this question. Who's your favorite character? Is it Michael Scott? Is it Dwight, Pam, etc.? Who's your favorite guy or girl? I'm
a Jim guy, but everything cracks me up. Like Dwight's hilarious, Michael's hilarious. They all that show's so good. I've watched it too many times to count. I just the reason I like watching it on game day is because it just takes my mind off the game and just always makes me laugh. And for me, it gets funnier the more I watch it. So it always gives me a good laugh and reminds me to not take everything so serious.
It's a very light and humorous show for sure. And like you said, I've started watching again. A little embarrassing. I've watched almost everything possible on Netflix and Amazon Prime. So I'm running out of things to watch. So I'm starting to rewatch The Office, and I'm praying COVID can go away soon, or we can find a cure something soon, because I'd like to get my normal life back, because there's not many more options to watch on or stream or anything, you know. But you spent the majority of your last season with Belleville in the AHL. You got to play with guys like Josh Norris, Drake Batherson, or Bather Season, Bath Time. We got many names for Jake Batherson here in Ottawa, as well as Eric Brandstrom, etc. So how excited are you that you get to play with many elite players on your side? And does it make you excited about your future with the team and the Senators organization as a whole?
It's awesome. We have so many good players that are really high skilled and really good people. I think is the best part, is just a lot of good guys and guys that you love to be around and hang out with and see at the rink every day. And, those kinds of guys are the best, and it's awesome to see them have success. And, all those guys are going to have fantastic NHL careers. So it's really fun to hang out with them every day and go to war with them every night.
Now I'm wondering, or I'm going to ask a few questions about Belleville before we cut into the playoffs, well, the potential that Belleville had in the playoffs, and other questions. Firstly, who is the clown in the locker room? Is there a locker room clown?
Honestly, I'd probably say Philip Gustafson. He's always pulling pranks, and he's like undercover hilarious sometimes. He doesn't say a whole lot, but he's always got something up his sleeve, and he's always pranking somebody. So he's probably up there for that.
Do you have a story that you can tell us of some prank?
Trying to think. Oh, he took our trainer's windshield wipers off his car one day. I don't know how he did that or what he did, but we come in the rink the next day, and he was not thrilled.
Now, it's good to always have a clown to keep things loose and fun in the room. And I think it's actually funny that a goalie, where goalies are seen to be more – well, actually, goalies are either goofy or serious. So it's funny to see that stereotype in play here. But I'm wondering, who controls the music? Who's that guy that just controls the radio or music or anything that's playing in the locker room?
It depends. Sometimes Brownie's on it. Jordan Murray's on it sometimes. Let's see. Max Lajoie would be on it sometimes. There wasn't like one guy that always had it, but it moves around.
What's the vibe usually like, though? Like, what type of music do y'all listen to?
Oh, it depends on the day. It depends. Sometimes it's country. Sometimes it's Justin Bieber or EDM or rap. It literally depends on the day.
Depends on the mood, depends on the day. I get that.
Yeah.
And final question, what's the relationship like between the team and the organization there in Belleville? Y'all seem really close. A lot of – I've seen a couple of games in Belleville, and, just watching the interactions between Troy Mann, the head coach, and the players on the bench, it seems like everything's great, and it looks like y'all have a great relationship, which is huge with a player and head coach. So I'm wondering what it's like as a player, what the relationship's like with the organization.
I think it's really good. It doesn't hurt when you're winning because everyone's always in a good mood. And being in first place at the end of the year is, better than being in last place. So everyone was, I think we had really good camaraderie, especially between the staff and the players, and most importantly, between all the players. We all got along really well, and I felt like there was a lot of respect between all the players and from the staff to the players, and we all just kind of worked really well together. So I'm hoping that we can find that chemistry again next season.
Like you said, when you're winning, everyone's happy. And like Ricky Bobby says, if you ain't first, you're last. So on that segue, your season was cut short, unfortunately, and Belleville was a force to be reckoned with in the AHL, one of the top teams. So I'm wondering, was there a team you preferred to play in the playoffs? Is there a team where you thought you had a better chance? What team were you looking forward to playing in the AHL playoffs?
I don't know if I had a team in particular that I was looking forward to playing. I think, we were in first place and we felt like we were rolling. So we kind of had the mentality that it didn't matter who we played, we were going to win. So it's unfortunate that we didn't get to get that opportunity, but
for sure,
we definitely felt like we had a really good chance to win against anybody we played. So we weren't trying to play anybody or do anything like that. We wanted to come in first place and go from there.
Well, like I mentioned a few times, and I'm wearing my Belleville jersey. I've been to Belleville a couple of times, and the facility is beautiful. The renovations they've done in the Yardman Arena, or now the CAA Arena, it's phenomenal. The actual farm itself, the rink is nice. It's clean. It's spacious. So I'm wondering, what's that experience been like in Belleville so far? It's a smaller town, but it seems like a really tight town. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I thought it's a different town. I guess you kind of have to get used to it, but I really enjoyed it, and there's good people there, and I love going to the rink every day, and the facilities we have there are awesome. So it's a great setup, and can't really ask for much more.
How have the fans been so far in Belleville? Because I know it's a new team, a lot of Toronto fans there, a lot of Montreal fans. So what's the support been like so far, especially coming off a year like you guys had this one?
It's been great, yeah, especially once we started, really winning and it started, skyrocketing up the leaderboard. The fans really started to come out, and it was awesome to see all that support for us.
And I definitely saw a trend for sure of crowds becoming much larger as the season wound down. Y'all were really like a steam train, just going, winning. So if that doesn't get fans in the arena, I don't know what will. And there was plenty of fans there to experience it. Now, our chief editor, Noah, is curious about this. You see on the bench that some skaters drink Gatorade during games where others go and drink some water. Do goalies drink Gatorade, or is it just strictly water, or is it just a mix? What do goalies drink from their Gatorade bottle at their net?
So on my net, I have just water, but then at every TV timeout, I usually go over to the bench and I towel off, and then I'll have Gatorade and water over there.
Okay.
But at the net is just water. Is
that a normal thing, or does it vary between different goalies?
Yeah, I think most goalies just have water. I can't speak for everybody. That's just me personally.
Yeah. Well, that's definitely a question that I'm glad Noah asked here, because, honestly, you see the water bottle, but it's a Gatorade bottle, so you don't know. but you see these goalies sometimes splashing themselves with it. So you got to ask the question: are they splashing themselves with Gatorade? You would hope not. So thankfully, you are.
I made that mistake once. It's not fun.
Really?
Yeah,
Please tell
you're
us
like
the
you
story.
get like all sticky and stuff.
So how did that happen? How did you spill Gatorade all over yourself, Joey?
Well, I just my pre-period routine is just I spray water on my face and then like down the back of my jersey. And one time I grabbed the Gatorade bottle instead of the water bottle, and it was disgusting. Yeah.
Did you have to? What was that like? Rush? Did you have to rush to the ice? What did you do?
No, I was on the ice, so it's just kind of you just gotta roll with it.
Yeah. Well, did you allow a goal after that, or was it just rock and roll?
I don't even remember. It was a while ago, so I don't even remember.
You probably remember if you allowed a goal, so we'll just say
Probably.
you didn't allow one. Now, your contract's up, so I think I speak for all Sens fans when I say we'd love for you to re-sign with the Senators and stay with the organization. Now, as a restricted free agent, you'll most definitely be offered a qualifying offer from the Senators organization, especially after a spectacular year that you had. And now I'm wondering, will you accept the qualifying offer? What are your plans for the next year? What do you see yourself in 5 years? What's the future for you, Joey?
I really don't know. I think the ultimate goal is just to go to the NHL and play in the NHL and be a starter and help a team win a Stanley Cup. I'm really hoping to stay in Ottawa. This year I'm definitely going to resign in Ottawa, and my plan is to be here for as long as they want me. So I'm looking forward to being an Ottawa Senator for as long as they'll have me.
Well, that's music to our ears because the Senators have had a plethora of goalies that are elite that they've given away. They have given away Robin Lehner. We've given away not Anders Olsen. We've given away Ben Bishop. And we have some good goalies in the pipeline. We have some good goalies right now in the NHL. But more the better. And you're certainly a goalie, in my opinion, that has a definite future in the National Hockey League. And I prefer we didn't make the same mistake like we did with Lehner and Bishop. I prefer if we kept you. So hopefully we keep you long-term. And that answer is music to our ears because we'd love to see you remain in the beautiful Belleville Senator and or Ottawa Senator jersey. Now, we got a few fan questions. We couldn't get to all of them because we asked so many questions. So our first one is from our producer, Giordano Ladisa. How nice of a facility is it at the CAA Arena? Do you enjoy living in Belleville? I know we asked this question, so I'll sort of rephrase it. Is there one spot in Belleville the whole team likes to go to eat?
Well, there's Linguini's, the Italian restaurant. A lot of guys go there. And then there's Greek Oasis, which is really good Greek food. So those are probably two of the more popular spots.
Okay, that's good. And is there anywhere nicer that you go, like a nice sit-down place, maybe if your parents come in? Is there anywhere like that?
There's a few places down the county, but I wasn't there for that long. I was only there for a couple months, so I didn't have as much time to explore as I probably would have liked.
Now I'm going to ask a question. On the road trips and, the buses and the trips in general in hockey are full of stories. So I was wondering, is there one story from the trips and the many road trips you've gone on with the team? Is there one story in Belleville that is so unique that you need to tell us?
Not really. I just think, like I said, we got a really good group of guys. So just being on the road and going out to dinner and hanging out together is always a really fun time. So just really enjoy that part of being a pro hockey player.
Now, what was that experience like in the NCAA where it's a little different? You're not getting paid, so it's more of a college atmosphere, not professional atmosphere. So what were the differences between the Belleville road trips or professional road trips, and then you had the NCAA road trips? Were they similar, different? What are we looking at here?
I found them to be very similar. I think you stay in nice hotels and all the accommodations are great. The biggest difference was at ASU, we didn't have any team that was close to us, so we flew to every single game.
That's cool, though.
Whereas now, and then a couple times we were able to take like chartered flights, private flights. So that was nice too. And in Belleville, we got a lot of teams that are pretty close to us. So we're busing almost all of our games, and that's definitely a big difference. But either way, whether you're flying cross country or you're busing for a couple hours or 8 hours or whatever, it's travel and it's long, and that's kind of one of the tougher parts of being a pro.
Now I'm going to ask another follow-up question before we get to a few other fan questions. What did you major in Arizona State? What did you study?
I just graduated actually last month. I majored in business administration.
Good for you. That's awesome.
Yeah,
and
thank you.
do you have after NHL? After the NHL? Do you have any aspirations to start a business, run something, manage, etc.? What's the plan?
I'm not really sure right now. I'm not.
You're focused on the NHL.
That's not something that I'm entirely focused on right now. I'm hoping that hockey lasts for a while.
Yeah, I hope so. Well, it looks like it's gonna. But regardless, Muscle Tov, congratulations on
Thank you.
graduating. Now, a question here from Kevin Jimena. Who was your hockey idol growing up, and who inspired you to become a hockey player?
Well, like I said, my dad was a big role model for me. Corey Schneider, Andrew Raycroft. Those were some of the guys when I was younger. And then as I got older, I became a really big fan of Carey Price, Pecorine, Marc-Andre Fleury. So those are just some of the names. But the biggest ones when I was a kid were Andrew Raycroft and my dad, really, and Corey Schneider.
That's a great answer. And, I wanted to hear what you had to think because you're from Boston, or from the Boston area. So growing up, you definitely saw the Senators on the TV. You played Boston many times, and Ottawa was one of the better teams, I'm sure, when you were growing up in the early 2000s. Did you ever get to see Ray Emery play, and did you just have anything to touch up on Ray Emery, because he has that fantastic Muhammad Ali helmet? He's a Sens legend, obviously, rest in peace. And, I was wondering if you ever got to see him play growing up.
I don't think I ever saw him play live, but I watched so much hockey that I watched him on TV. And from all accounts, I never met him, but it sounds like he was a special person and he was an incredible goalie. So very unfortunate that he passed away, but his story and his legacy will be remembered forever.
For sure. Now, I'm wondering, Scott J is wondering, was there ever another time you wanted to play a different position in hockey?
Like every day? No, I love goalie. Goalie's my favorite, but playing out and scoring is so much fun. I work for my dad. Like I said, my dad is a goalie school in the New England area, and I coach and shoot on goalies, and that's actually what I was doing this morning. I was coaching goalies and shooting on goalies this morning, and I just have so much fun coaching and teaching, and I love to score goals too. So sometimes I wish I was a right wing and sat on my one-timer side on the power play, but I don't think I'm tough enough to be a skater. And
it takes a lot of
grace. Get hit. I don't really like getting hit, so I don't know if I'm tough enough for that.
Yeah, speaking from a person that's not, I'm built more. I play rugby, so I'm built more for rugby. Hockey, I'm not tall enough to play hockey. Unfortunately, I feel I'd definitely get rocked if I was out there. If I saw Zdeno Chara coming at me, I'd probably duck. I'm not gonna lie,
most guys probably do.
Probably take the life out of me. But I'm wondering, we're talking about you sniping shots from the right wing. Now, as a goaltender, it's every goalie's dream to score a goalie goal. Have you ever attempted to do so, or are you going to eventually try to score a goal in the NHL, AHL, or whatever as a goalie?
Yeah, I tried twice my junior year at ASU. One of them was like doing okay, and then it bounced like way into the corner. My other one against Boston College, we were up 2-0 with like 30 seconds left, and the guy like dumped it in right on me. I caught it, put it down, shot it, and I missed the net by like maybe 4 inches. I thought it was in. It was dead center of the net, and when it was in the air, it landed about like just inside the blue line, the far blue line. Thought it was in, and it just sailed wide. I couldn't believe it. I would have been, yeah. I see that one in my sleep at night.
Please, as a Sens fan, I'm asking, please try to score a goal.
Oh, I'm not afraid to try.
It never hurts. It never hurts to have a goalie that can chip in with a couple goals as well. That definitely helps.
Yeah.
Now, a question here from D. Lee. Are you paying attention to the National Hockey League Draft Lottery, and do you get excited for that kind of stuff as a professional player in the org?
Not necessarily. I'm just focused on my future here in Ottawa, and like I said, I hope it's a long one.
Yeah.
That stuff's kind of part of the game nowadays with expansion drafts and lottery and, whatever. So I'm just kind of focused on myself right now and what I can do to help Ottawa.
Fair enough. Now, our Francis here is wondering, were you excited to get drafted into the National Hockey League? I think that's pretty self-explanatory. But did you expect to get drafted?
Well, I actually got drafted in my second draft year. So my first year, I was really disappointed when I didn't get picked. I had a couple different teams tell me they were really interested. And
do you mind? Can you reveal those teams, or is it best to keep that?
Probably not even go there.
No problem.
I just remember there were a few teams that were interested, and my my second draft year, I think I really only had like one or two teams reach out, and I was rated higher in like the central scouting rankings, but I didn't really have that many teams reach out, so I wasn't quite sure. And I actually, I don't really think I spoke to Ottawa that much. I don't really remember too well, but what's that?
There was no indication that they were going to draft you.
No, it was just out of nowhere. It's just all of a sudden I just got picked. So I only got picked with 11 picks left in the draft. So at that point, I was convinced I wasn't going to get drafted again. And I was obviously ecstatic to get picked.
From being in Ottawa, in the Ottawa organization, being drafted with the 11th last pick, that's certainly a good sign with the Ottawa Senators. Now I'm wondering, where were you when you were drafted? Were you at home with your family? I know there's a funny story with Mark Stone. He was fishing or something, and he didn't really know until last minute he got drafted. So I'm wondering, what's your draft story?
Well, like I said, for my first year, I watched the whole thing. I didn't get drafted, so I was like, I'm not doing that again. So then the next year, my buddy and I went golfing. Mm-hmm. I was like, dude, we got to golf. We got to do something. So we golfed and got out of the house. And I think when I came home from golfing, the draft was in like the 5th or 6th round, and then we watched the rest of it. And then as the 6th and 7th round was going by, I was like, I can't watch. Yeah. So I went out and sat on the deck, and I was just like on some random Twitter page, and they were just tweeting like 186 and then the name of the player, and then 187. And I just kept like swiping up. And then all of a sudden, my dad and I both got phone calls at the same time. Something's going on. And then my agent told me I got picked. And I remember I picked up my mom and carried her around the house.
That's an unreal story. You went through a full draft. You almost went through a second one. And now look at you. You are considered one of the top goaltending prospects in the Sens organization, full of great prospects. So congratulations to you. Keep on working hard. Now, the final question is from Jonah Line one. He asked, what do you think about the impact COVID has had on the AHL? Some MLB players like David Price have contributed to paying for their team's minor league affiliates. Do you know of any players in the NHL who have reached out to support AHL players?
Well, I think as far as I know, everyone got their full salaries for the whole season. So I don't think anybody lost out on any money, whereas the minor league guys in baseball, they were losing money because their season was just supposed to start. So they lost a lot of money. Whereas I think we all I could be wrong on that, but I think we all, every team got their full salaries for the whole season. So the NHL and the AHL has done a good job supporting us, and the Players Association and the PHPA have done a really good job with everything. So I don't think there's really been too many issues on that end that I know of.
Well, we had top AHL reporter Patrick Williams on the show. Like you said, the players and team executives and everyone have been paid. And he also mentioned that the AHL, there's no worry of the AHL going anywhere, shutting down anything. The league will return next year once it's able to open. It now depends on a few things. He did mention that there is a chance the league could push back until fans are allowed in the stands, so we'll see. And it's interesting to see what the NHL and AHL decide on, because teams like Ottawa and Detroit, this has a huge effect because a lot of their future is in the AHL. So that's going to have a huge effect. Now, before I wrap things up, Joey, once again, thank you so much for joining the show. This has been a fun time. Do you have anywhere, any social medias you wanted to plug for people to follow you?
Yeah, my Instagram and Twitter, it's just JDAC35, so JDAC35. It's Instagram and Twitter. Feel free to follow me.
So before we wrap things up, make sure to check us out on all our streaming platforms. You got us on Google Play, SoundCloud, Apple, Spotify, and of course here on YouTube. Click the red button to make it gray and subscribe. As well, follow us on our social medias on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Sensdog Podcast. Joey, it's been an absolute pleasure. I look forward to speaking soon in the near future. Good luck next year with Belleville. Good luck in the future in the National Hockey League, and hopefully we can connect soon.
All right, thanks for having me. Thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
Everybody for watching, thank you so much. We'll see you episode number 14. Joey, it's been a pleasure, and we'll see y'all in the next one.